don't know, you can hear me?
Yes,
Oh,
I will.
oh, there is Shakti Mataji, you were reading today. Sorry. Yeah,
Yes.
please go. Please go, Mataji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhavati Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtake. Hare Krishna to all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Reading today from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7, The Son of Drona Punished. Text 1. Rishi Saunika asked, O Sutta, the great and transcendently powerful Vyasadeva heard everything from Sri Narada Muni. So after Narada's departure, what did Vyasadeva do? Text 2. Sri Sutta Goswami said, Sri Sutta said, on the western bank of the river Saraswati, which is intimately related with the Vedas, there is a cottage for meditation at Samya Prasha, which enlivens the transcendental activities of the sages. Text 3. In that place, Srila Vyasadeva, in his own ashram, which was surrounded by berry trees, sat down to meditate after touching water for purification. Text 4. Thus he fixed his mind, perfectly engaging it by linking it in devotional service, bhakti yoga, without any tinge of materialism. And thus he saw the absolute personality of Godhead along with his external energy, which was under full control. Text 5. Due to his external energy, the living entity, although transcendental to the three modes of material nature, thinks of himself as a material product and thus undergoes the reactions of material miseries. Text 6. The material miseries of the living entity, which are superfluous to him, can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. But the mass of people do not know this, and therefore the learned Vyasadeva compiled this Vedic literature, which is in relation to the supreme truth. Text 7. Simply by giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, the feeling for loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness. Text 8. The great sage Vyasadeva, after compiling the Srimad Bhagavatam and revising it, taught it to his own son, Sri Sukadeva Goswami, who was already engaged in self-realization. Text 9. Sri Saunaka asked Sutta Goswami, Sri Sukadeva Goswami was already on the path of self-realization, and thus he was pleased with his own self. So why did he take the trouble to undergo the study of such a vast literature? Text 10. Sutta Goswami said, all different varieties of Atmaramas, those who take pleasure in the Atma or spirit self, especially those established on the path of self-realization, though freed from all kinds of material bondage, desire to render unalloyed devotional service unto the personality of Godhead. This means that the Lord possesses transcendental qualities and therefore can attract everyone, including liberated souls. Text 11. Srila Sukadeva Goswami, son of Srila Vyasadeva, was not only transcendentally powerful, he was also very dear to the devotees of the Lord. Thus, he underwent the study of this great narration, Srimad Bhagavatam. Text 12. Sutta Goswami thus addressed the rishis headed by Saunaka. Now I shall begin the transcendental narration of the Lord Sri Krishna and topics of the birth, activities, and deliverance of King Parikshit, the sage amongst kings, as well as topics of the renunciation of the worldly order by the sons of Pandu. Text 13 to 14. When the respective warriors of both camps, namely the Kauravas and the Pandavas, were killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and the dead warriors obtained their deserved destinations, and when the son of Dhritarashtra fell down lamenting, his spine broken, being beaten by the club of Bhimashen, the son of Dronacharya, Ashvatthama beheaded the 5 sleeping sons of Draupadi and delivered their heads as a prize to his master, foolishly thinking that he would be pleased. Duryodhana, however, disapproved of the heinous act, and he was not pleased in the least. Text 15. Draupadi, the mother of the 5 children of the Pandavas, after hearing of the massacre of her sons, began to cry in distress with eyes full of tears. Trying to pacify her in her great loss, Arjuna spoke to her thus. Text 16. O gentle lady, when I present you with the head of that Brahmana, after beheading him with arrows from my Gandiva bow, I shall then wipe the tears from your eyes and pacify you. Then after burning your sons' bodies, you can take your bath standing on his head. Text 17. Arjuna, who is guided by the infallible Lord as a friend and driver, thus satisfied the dear lady by such statements. Then he dressed in armor and armed himself with furious weapons. And getting into his chariot, he set out to follow Ashvatthama, the son of his martial teacher. Text 18. Ashvatthama, the murderer of the princess, seeing from a great distance Arjuna coming at him with great speed, fled in his chariot, panic-stricken, just to save his life, as Brahma fled in fear from Shiva. Text 19. When the son of the Brahmana Ashvatthama saw that his horses were tired, he considered that there was no alternative for protection outside of his using the ultimate weapon, the Brahmastra nuclear weapon. Text 20. Since his life was in danger, he touched water in sanctity and concentrated upon the chanting of the hymns for throwing nuclear weapons, although he did not know how to withdraw such weapons. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thanks so much, Hare Krishna. Yeah, when you're ready, Himanshu Prabhu, you can give the overview now, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji, yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Please accept my hand. Please, Hare Krishna devotee, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. And thanks to Sundaran Prabhuji for providing me the encouragement to, to speak today. So Prabhuji, I think you started the recording, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. So let me start the prayers. Om Ajnana Trimandasya Jnanam Jana Shalakaya Takshur Unmilitina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Swatitanya Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kahamayam Darati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Te Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashat Deshatarni Namo Mahavatnaya Krishna Premi Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurataive Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktapinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpataru Vriksha Kripa Sindhu Vade Picha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo. Okay, so I would like, so today we're going to read text 1 to 20 of the chapter 7, Son of Drona Punished. Before I'll go further, I would like to recap, what we have read yesterday. In the last chapter, we read about, about the pastime of the Narada Muni. We read about the conversation between the Narada Muni and Vyasadeva. So we learned different incident like in the past life of Narada Muni, when Narada Muni left, when his sages left from Narada Muni, so Vyasadeva inquired, like, what he did, what are the life incident, how he continue attain his, spiritual, this is spiritual body, so that he can travel from one planet to another planet, and he's very transcendent, and how Narada still remember, like, all his past life experiences in his new life, because whatever happened when he was the son of a maid servant, it happened in the Brahma's previous day, it's in the previous kalpa. So Vyasadeva, inquisitively asked all those questions, and then Narada described all the incident, and I think Sundaranand Prabhuji covered very beautifully there. He described about childhood incident, how his mother died, and how he took up that kind of, incident in a positive way, because he was blessed by the sages, and he started walking towards the north, and where he had, crossed a lot of, forest and different places, and he was basically completely detached from the material world. Then he sit under the tree and, start meditating, where he felt the presence of a Lord. He went into the trance, or I would say bhava state, and started hearing the sound, and he started trying to meditate again, because he saw the Lord, form of the Lord, and but that form suddenly disappeared, he could not see it anymore. Then he heard the voice and instruction of the Lord. And as Prabhupada mentioned, as one more hanker towards the, one more hankers to see the more and more the Lord, his material desire gets disappear from the heart of the devotee. And devotional services are like, it's a kind of a bank account which never annihilate, even our body will annihilate. So that's what the learning, because that's how Narada Muni, merged into the, in the same spiritual body, merged along with the Brahma, and when the annihilation happened, and then he came as a and a new spiritual body, when in the new day of the Brahma, and he transcendental body he got. So that was a recap of the last chapter, and then in the today's chapter we are gonna read from text 1 to 20. So first 8 words of this chapter is kind of in the continuation of the last chapter, and where Sutta Goswami has answered some of the question of the Sonaka Rishi. So let's preview this chapter in terms of how many sections we have in this chapter. As per my understanding and what I read till now, we have 6 sections in this chapter. First section is text 1 to 8, where Vyasadeva vision, and what vision about the Kali Yuga, what are the incident which gonna happen, and then how the living beings of the Kali Yuga will be so conditioned, and will be modes, inclined toward the modes of material nature, under the influence of the modes of the material nature. And then he thought, he glorified, and then the glorification of Bhagavatam will be there in the text 8. He compiled the Bhagavatam, and then the glorification of the Bhagavatam is given there. And I think in the chapter 4, Sutta Goswami asked the question, why Vyasadeva, wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam, correct? So that is answered in this section 1. And if we'll talk about the section 2 is basically when Vyasadeva is trying to narrate the Bhagavatam, Srila Sukadeva Goswami. So in this section, Sonaka Rishi asked, as Sukadeva Goswami is a transcendental soul. I mean, he's kind of a Brahmavadi. He is a self-realized soul. So why, he undergo this kind of reading of this Srimad Bhagavatam? He is super jnani already. So what was the need? So that question in this section asked by the Sonaka Rishi, and it was pretty much in the next verses answered by the Sutta Goswami. And then if we'll talk about section 3 onwards. So section 3 onwards is basically all the incident happened just before the birth of the Parikshit Maharaj. Just before the birth of the Parikshit Maharaj, how Ashwathama went to the tent of the Pandavas and then kill the sons of the Draupadi who were sleeping. And then he presented their head, to his master Duryodhana, and he thought like he would be happy, but he was not at all happy on that incident, because he was disgraceful, like what would you did. And then how Arjuna captures Ashwatthama, and how they solve and how Ashwatthama, because of the fear, he threw the nuclear weapon like a Brahmastra. And then so then next set of verses at the end of that, they are trying to solving the dilemma whether they need to kill the Ashwatthama or not, because Arjuna and Bhima is in a favor of to kill the Ashwatthama, but while Draupadi, Maharaj Yudhishthira and are not in a favor of killing the Ashwatthama, because they were telling like he's a son of Brahmana. But Arjuna claims was, even though he's a son of Brahmana, he's a Dvaja Bandhu, he's a friend of Brahmana, but he act like a demon. He act like a villain here, so we should kill him. So I think but today we are going to cover, I think, first 3 section and third section not completely, because we are going to stop at text 1 to 20. So let's start from the text 1. Let me read. Yeah. Shri Sonaka Rishi asked, "O Sutta, the great transcendental powerful Vyasa Deva heard everything from the Shri Narada Muni. So after Narada departure, what did Vyasa Deva do?" So basically, Sonaka Rishi was inquisitive. What has happened? What are the incident happened when Narada left? How Vyasa Deva reacted at time? What he did? What are his activity? So he just want to understand. And then in the next text 2 and 3, Sutta Swami describe what are the incident happened. So basically, it was mentioned in the text 2 that Vyasa Deva used to live in his cottage, which is in the Samyaspara, which is in the western bank of the river Saraswati, where he sat down and started performing his meditation. And his ashrama was surrounded by the berry tree, correct? And Vyasa sat down there and started meditating by touching the purified water, sanctify himself for the water, for purification. And I think in purport, let me open the purport. In the purport, I think some key points are there. Prabhupada has highlighted the, ashrama, significance of ashrama. So for spiritual advancement of the knowledge, we need a suitable place. And I think the place which is given here, we definitely require a spiritual place and an atmosphere which is conducive to our bhakti or devotional service or spiritual advancement. And this is one of the ideal place because it's in the western bank of the river Saraswati. So and surrounded by the berry tree. So this is the Prabhupada explained that it's a very ideal place for the spiritual advancement. And Prabhupada also highlighted the importance of ashrama, correct? The importance of ashrama is ultimate goal of each ashrama is basically to attain the spiritual advancement by realizing the Supreme. Because even we have 4 ashrama, Brahmachari ashrama, Grahastha ashrama, and Vanaprastha sannyasi, but all ashrama, the goal is ultimate. The goal is to have a spiritual advancement and nothing else, but the ways are different in each ashrama, but the goal is one supreme goal, which is ultimate goal is attain the spiritual advancement and do the devotional service based on the respective ashrama. In the text 4, let me go to the text 4. Text 4 translation says that thus he fixed the mind. Vyasadeva fixed his mind perfectly, engaging it by linking into the devotional service. So basically he started performing bhakti yoga. And the Vyasadeva is pure in terms of he doesn't have a tinge of a material desire. He was completely free from material desire. He doesn't have any kind of, yash, arth, yash, kam, moksha, no attachment, nothing there. And that's why he started seeing the absolute truth of the personality of Godhead. But along with the personality of Godhead, he started seeing his external energy as well. He started seeing his internal energy. He started seeing his external energy and his all incarnation. And then what he saw, like all the incarnation of the Lord what he saw, all the energies of the Lord, external energy, internal energy, everything is under the control of the Lord. So definitely, it refutes the Mayavadi philosophy, like, the Lord is also driven under the control of the his energies, but the external energy, Maya Shakti, but that's not the case. What Vyasadeva has envisioned there, Vyasadeva saw, like, all these external energy, are subordinate of the Lord. So basically here, spiritual, because Vyasadeva has a instruction of his Narada Muni, so he start meditating on the same way as we also learned in the last chapter, how Narada Muni start meditating in his previous life, correct? The same way, Vyasadeva also fixed his mind and perfectly engaged in the devotional service. And because he saw in this, he realized the Lord, enough in the verse it's mentioned, Purna Purusha, Purnam Purusha, I think. Purn Purusha, Purnam Purusham, Apashyat Purnam Purusham. So Purnam Purusham, Prabhupada mentioned the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So who is none other than the Lord Krishna himself. I mean, Vyasadeva could have seen the Maryada Purushottam Ram or Lord Vishnu, but he did not see that. But he see the Purn Purushottam, which is nothing but a Lord Krishna. And I think Srila Chakravarti Thakur has explained the Purna Purushottam is only Krishna. And although Krishna, Vishnu, and Lord are all Purushottam, but Purn Purushottam is Krishna. So he was able to see the Lord Krishna because he was executing the devotional service without any material attachment in his heart. And he saw all energy, and those all energy are under the full control of the Lord. But these energy are control of his Lord. He's subordinate of the Lord, but they are acting on the marginal potency of the Lord, which is the Jiva, us. We are driven by the modes of material nature, and these energies are acting on us. That's why in the Kali Yuga, in the next verse, Vyasadeva envision what this Maya Shakti can bewilder the insignificant part and parcel of the Lord, like as Jiva Shakti, Jiva. And that's why he when he envisioned, so due to his external energy, the living entity, although transcendental to the three modes of material nature, thinks of himself as a material product, thus undergo the reaction of the materiality. Because as a jiva, we are under the mode of material nature, and the modes of material nature are acting on us, different mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And that's where we suffer in this material world with mode of miseries, different miseries, and we never happy. So that is the thing, envisioned by the Vyasadeva, and he understand how a living entity will suffer in the Kali Yuga, and they will be, keep on struggling in the action, reaction, karma cycle. So here Prabhupada in the purport has clearly mentioned about the analogy of the moonlight and cloud. And some of the places Prabhupada mentioned the philosophy of the sunlight, and cloud. So as sun, we can compare sun as a Lord Krishna, and sunlight is his internal potency, internal energy, which is never separated from the Lord himself. And and also cloud is getting generated from indirectly from sun itself. So we can say we can compare cloud as a Bahiranga Shakti, which is our external energy of the Lord, and that Bhairanga Shakti is a separated. It comes from the sun itself. It comes from the sun itself, but it when as a jiva, when we look at it, when cloud came, we think it appears to us that sun is not there, because we can't see the sun, because it cover our vision to see the Lord in that case. But it doesn't mean that Lord is not there. Lord is still, sun is still out there. Sun is still out there, but we can't see. Our tiny eyes cannot see the Lord. We can't perceive the Lord. So that's the effect of the Bhairanga Shakti. That's why we are in the modes of material nature. We can't see the actual Lord. I mean, we can't see because our vision is, we are having a kind of a blind vision. We can't see that. So that's where, when the cloud block our vision, Prabhupada also gave, it's mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita also. Shri Krishna mentioned, Daivi Haisha Gunamai, Mama Maya Durayate, Mameva Ye Prapadyante, Maya Metam Tarantite. My divine energy, Maya, constituted of three modes of nature, is very difficult to overcome, and there is a solution also given by the Lord. But those who surrender unto me without any tinge of material desire, with a one-pointed attention, without multi-branch intelligence, they will cross the ocean of this material ocean, and then they can come to my abode. That's why, I was hearing one lecture of one disciple of Prabhupada, and he mentioned, like, in the brahmachari ashram in the ISKCON, because they don't want to identify with the false body, they never keep the mirror, correct? And so that, and if they keep the mirror also, that too very small, so that they can do the tilak. And some of the brahmachari ashram, if they have the mirror, how this example why I'm giving, like, in telling, like, how we can protect ourselves from the maya of false identification. And if they keep the mirror also, they put it in the mirror, note as it, that you are not this body, you are not seeing what you are not, you are seeing what you're not. And Lord, because this Maya Shakti is a subordinate of the Lord, so Lord doesn't interfere with the Maya Shakti, because action of the illusionary energy, this Vairanga Shakti, is also important, because it also cleans the conditioned soul. It's reform the conditioned soul. It try to elevate the conditioned soul in the part of the, so that, because there will be misery, and with the mercy of the Lord, definitely they will come to the bhakti marg and elevate themselves. And I think in the next words, text 6, I think I'm running late, I think 27:28. So in the next verse, the material misery of the living entity, which are superfluous to him, be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. But the mass of the people do not know this, and therefore the learned Vyasadeva compiled this Vedic literature. So here Vyasadeva realized that the mass of people do not know this process of devotional service. So therefore, for the welfare of human society, he compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is in the relation of the Supreme Lord. So that's where the Srimad Bhagavatam he compiled, and it's for the Supreme Lord. So if you see here, Prabhupada also telling about the hearing and chanting, how it is important. We should not do the hearing and chanting and mechanical process, because when we do the sincere hearing and chanting and causelessly depend on the mercy of the Lord, when the Lord fully satisfied with our sincere effort, he shows his mercy, he endowed his mercy to his devotees, and we will start cleansing our heart, and then we start elevating to the in our spiritual mark. In the text 7, we'll understand the benefit, what benefit we'll get after hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. Simply by the giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, the feeling for loving devotional service to the Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of lamentation and illusion. There are, a couple of symptoms of the material desire, like everyone is afraid of his enemy. We are in the illusion, like, mirage of the illusory thing. Our visions are not perfect. We are, this material world is an illusory world. And it's full of lamentation. Everyone is, different modes are acting. We are, miserable in every, condition of life. It's in conditioned life. But what is a remedy? So remedy is also given. The Srimad Bhagavatam is a remedy. So by hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam is a pastime of the Lord. One gets attachment from the Supreme Personality of Godhead and Shri Krishna. And as soon as the attachment is established in the heart of the human being, the symptoms of this material disease start disappearing, gradually start disappearing, and eventually we get purified. And to respect the time, I'll move fast. To create sage Vyasadeva in the text 8, after compile the Srimad Bhagavatam, revising it, taught it to his son, Srila Sukadev Goswami, who was already engaged in the self-realization. So Sutta Goswami asked why Sukadev Goswami need to read the Srimad Bhagavatam. I mean, he was already a Paramahansa, self-realized soul. Why he need to go through the Bhagavatam? And it was mentioned by in the text 10. Sutta Goswami replied the reason why Sukadev, Goswami, even after being a self-realized soul, why he studied the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is in the text 10. Vyasadeva wanted his son to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, but immediately after the birth of Sukadeva Goswami, he left the home because he was not taking the birth for next 12 years. In the womb of his mother, he was there. And then Vyasadeva reached to personality of God in Dwaraka, Sri Krishna, and asked him, so that Sri Krishna came to his cottage and he assured the Sukadeva Goswami that Maya will not caught you when you take a birth. And then when he took the birth, immediately start walking to the left the home. He start because he was a Brahmavadi. But it's mentioned in the Bhajan Prabhu commentary. Vyasadeva want his son. I mean, he was crying for his son, and he sent some 2 texts of the Bhagavatam, which was telling the Krishna beauty and compassion, describe what Krishna beauty and compassion and all attractiveness, and which captivate the Sukadev Goswami mind so brilliantly that he came back home. And he desired to hear the Bhagavatam from his Krishna, because Lord Krishna is all attractive. If Lord Krishna is all attractive, and then Sukadev Goswami is a self-realized soul, he is pure in the heart, and definitely it captivate the mind of Sukadev Goswami, and he want to understand the Bhagavatam. And Srila Sukadev Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, in the text 11, was not only transcendental power, he was also very dear to the devotee of Lord. Thus, he underwent to study of this great narration, Srimad Bhagavatam. And I think text 12 onwards, and in the purport it's given in the text 12, Sukadev Goswami and Vyasadeva both together, start the narration of a Bhagavatam, and then, completely understand Sukadev Goswami, start completely understand the Bhagavatam. And when we go to text 12 onward, I mean, it's more on a storyline where Sukadev Goswami in the text 12 was, Sutta Goswami addressing that Sonaka Rishi asked, now I shall tell you what are the incident happened during just before the birth of the King Parikshit. And, so text 12 described that. And then text 13 and 14, what has happened, it's telling how Ashwathama, killed the son of Draupadi and bring the head of the son of Draupadi as a prize to his master Duryodhana. And he foolishly is thinking that Duryodhana would be pleased by this in his act. But Duryodhana, however, disapproves this heinous act. And he was not pleased, at least, in this. And in the text 13, I think these are the storylines, so I will try to cover key points here. In the text 13, Draupadi, once he got the news, Arjuna and Draupadi start crying out and lamenting about it. And then Arjuna was trying to pacify, the great loss of, of Draupadi. And he spoke to her like this: "O gentle lady, when I present you with the head of that Brahmana, after beheading him with the arrows from my Gandiva bow, I shall wipe your tears from your eyes and pacify you. Then after burning your son's body, then you can take a bath and standing on his head." So basically here Arjuna is trying to say he will kill. I mean, because he say he's a Dvaja Bandhu, he's act like a butcher, like Ashwatthama. So there is no question that will be a sin of killing the Brahmana son, Brahmachari son, Brahmana son of Dronacharya. So because he act like a villain. In the text 70, Arjuna, who is guided by the infallible Lord Krishna as a friend and driver, and basically he tried to chase down the Ashwathama, and as Ashwathama knew this news, he started being fearful and he started running away with his rath. And Lord Krishna and Arjuna was trying to follow him, and then they're trying to catch him. So in the text 70, he set out the Ashwathama soon. Then he dressed in the armor. I mean, he's telling in the text 17 that Arjuna dressed like an armor and armed himself with a furious weapon and getting into his chariot, and he set out to follow the Ashwathama, the son of his material material teacher. In text 18, it was telling like Ashwathama, the mother of the princess, seeing the great distance that Arjuna can chase him down, then he threw the he got panic, and he panicked, and then what he did, he threw the nuclear weapon. I mean, in the current terminology, is a Brahmastra, because Ashwathama was fortunate enough to get the Brahmastra from he did the penances and get the Brahmas from the Brahma as a Vardhan. So here, Prabhupada in the purport has defined two terms, because in the verse, it's yatah kaha and arkaha. There are two references. So kaha means Brahma. So it's telling the story, one upon a time, Brahma being allured by his daughter and began to follow her, which furious, which made Lord Shiva furious, and who attacked to the Brahma with his trident. And Brahma flew as Ashwathama is having a fear and is trying to run away, same way Brahma also ran away from the fear of the Lord Shiva. Same way, the Arkaha means, in the reference is a Vamana Purana, there was a demon called Vidyunmali, and he got a gift with a glowing golden airplane which can travel from the back of the sun, and in the night time also, that because it's so glowing in the nature, night disappears. And due to that, the sun god became very angry, and he tried to melt that plane with his heatness, his sun energy. But this enraged the Lord Shiva once again, and he tried to attack the sun god, and then sun god flew away, and he hid himself in the Kashi. That's where the Kashi, there is a temple called Lolarka. Lolarka, I think I was looking, Lolarka, the meaning of Lolarka is, I think, trembling sun. Lolarka means trembling. So sun god was trembled around and hide into Kashi, and that where there is a temple called Lolarka, which is being famous there. In the text 19, when the son of the Brahma, Ashwathama, saw that his horses were tired and considered that there is no alternative for protection outside, he used his ultimate weapon, Brahmastra, here. And in the text 20, since his life was in danger, he touched the water in sanctify, concentrate upon chanting the hymn of the and throwing the nuclear weapon. Although he did not know, because he only know how to throw the weapon, but he doesn't know how to withdraw the weapon. So that's where Ashwathama, but he threw the weapon. And I think we will close our discussion here. But I feel like from text 21 onwards, it's all about how Arjuna bring Ashwathama to his kingdom, and then the dilemmas start happening. The different dialogue happened between Draupadi, Maharaj Yudhishthir, and Arjuna, and what they did. Whether they punish or not, we'll get to know tomorrow. Thank you so much. I will invoke the prayer. Vanchakalpa taru vriksha kripa sindhu vadevacha patita nama pavam. Prabhuji, please close the recording. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Please
Nice.
forgive me if I misspoken anything. Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much, Prabhu, for understanding it and sharing nicely. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.